Newsroom. It was just a short while ago in the French southern city of Montpellier, they said oui to each other.
Concentrez-vous à prendre pour époux Monsieur Bruno Louis Ernest Albert Boileau.
Oui.
Donc,
France's first gay marriage drawing the world's media to Montpellier. France, the 14th country to approve same-sex weddings. Even though many others have said yes to civil unions, there has been a backlash in this country. Last Sunday, hundreds of thousands turning out to protest in Paris against gay marriage and adoption, among them the leader of the main opposition party, the conservative UMP, divided over gay marriage. But the turnout has analysts wondering if it's more than just a last hurrah we've witnessed. Elsewhere in the world, it's no given that the tide is irreversible, as seen last month, for instance, in Georgia, where thousands of anti-gay protesters, including Orthodox priests, clashed with activists in the streets of Tbilisi. Today in the France 24 debate, we're looking at what gay marriage will change. And with us to talk about it, Marie-Laure Desbrosses. She was one of those demonstrating last Sunday in Paris. She is with the association Mothers. How do you say it in English?
It's MMM. It's Make Mothers Matter.
Make Mothers Matter is the name of the organization. Also with us, he is a columnist with Le Plus, the interactive website of French news weekly Le Nouvel Observateur. Philippe Morin-Chevrolet, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for welcoming me.
And also with us, Ugandan activist Usam Mukwaya. The name of your organization is AGLOA, which stands for?
It stands for African Gay and Lesbians Organization Against Homophobia.
Okay, and we'll be hearing your story in a short while. The France 24 debate, where you can always join the conversation on Facebook and on Twitter. Our hashtag is F24debate. So this wedding taking place in the just a short while ago, and Marie-Laure Desbrosses, whether you're for or against gay marriage, people in the newsroom stopped to watch when the wedding was happening, and it seems like everybody likes a wedding.
Yeah, everybody likes a wedding, and I can understand the joy of people who think that this law and this day will help them to be better accepted in the society. I can understand that. And actually, most people don't fight against the right of adults. The people at the mobilization on Sunday were fighting against the problem for children, whether it was possible or not for a child to have two fathers or two mothers, or to protect the right to have one father and one mother. So it's not against the adults. I mean, which right you put at the top of your list? What's your priority? Do you defend adults first or children first?
So it's not the marriage as such that bothers you, it's adoption that bothers you.
And actually in France, marriage includes adoption. The law in France is done such a way that if you are married, it's possible to adopt.
All right, possible to adopt. Philippe Morin-Chevrolet, your thoughts on that, on just how much of a big deal this has been, this wedding today?
It was a big deal symbolically. It was kind of a great communication gesture that François Hollande made. He didn't do it purposefully. He did it a bit by accident. He was not really...
A bit by accident, you say?
Yes, it was not really planned. I mean, the Hollande's communication is really amateur, but it turned well for him. Sometimes accidents are good accidents, and it was a good accident for him. You could see his portrait behind the two grooms, and you could... He was quoted during the speech. The mayor did a speech quoting him, and there was one of his ministers in the room. And obviously all of that was making a good communication operation for Hollande, but he didn't do it. At the same time, he was doing a speech incredibly about employment. Nobody heard about the speech. Nobody heard the speech. All the news were obviously in Montpellier, but somehow
I'm going to pick you up on the point of whether
he was there, even if he wasn't there.
I'm going to pick up on that point of whether or not it was accidental the way he communicated in a moment.
It was very amateur, anyway.
Let's go to correspondent James Andre, who is at City Hall in the French southern city of Montpellier. There were a lot of questions, of course, James, being asked before the ceremony. I know that for one of them, Vincent Autain and Bruno Boileau, once they were pronounced husband and husband, saying they would take on double-barreled names. They'd be called Autain Boileau.
Absolutely, yeah, they decided to go with Autain Boileau. Indeed, this is a standard procedure here in France, and it can be done. Newlyweds can either choose to have the husband's name or double-barreled name, and this is what the decision they took today.
And more generally, James, there was the ceremony taking place inside a hall, and there were lots of people just outside.
Absolutely. There are about 500 to 600 people inside the actual city hall, and in front of it, there were probably, when there was the maximum amount of people, probably around 2,000. The ceremony was actually the sound was broadcasted on loudspeakers in front, and a lot of people were there to try and catch a glimpse of these newlyweds, which they actually came out on a balcony in front of the people who were assembled there to say hello at the end of the ceremony. So of course we heard a lot of cheers here, but the security was actually pretty tight as well. There were a lot of police, but things went rather well. Indeed, there were only a bunch of protesters, 6 of them, who arrived close to where all the cameras, the television cameras, were set up, where they started shouting slogans against the gay marriage. But very, very quickly, indeed, the police arrived and managed to stop them and then arrest one of them. But that was really a very, very minor disruption in this wedding that went
6
really
protesters.
well.
James, I want to read to you a couple of reactions on Twitter that we've spotted. One from Marshmallow. She wrote, Bruno and Vincent are gods for the day. Now, one of the newlyweds, a friend of a cabinet member in François Hollande's government, she's in fact the government spokesperson, they were married by the socialist mayor of Montpellier. We see in the background the picture of the president, as there is in every city hall. And Blanche on Twitter saying, public money for the wedding of a militant who's close to power? Is that not an illicit use of public funds? You really did get the sense, James. It was a long speech by the mayor of Montpellier. We saw that junior cabinet member front and center. She was thanked by one of the 2 grooms. You really did get the sense that the ruling socialists were making the most of this.
Well, I mean, for sure, the mayor of Montpellier was making the most of it. That is for sure. Indeed, Hélène Mandroux is a long-term, you could say, nearly activist as a mayor of Montpellier. Montpellier is built one of the most gay-friendly cities in France. This came out in a poll at the end of last year in Têtu magazine, which is a gay magazine for the gay community. And indeed, this magazine was saying that this city is by far the most gay-friendly in France. And of course, for Hélène Mandroux, it's very important that this wedding took place here. She definitely fought for it, even allowing the newlyweds potentially to put the file in and to fill in the papers before today. Of course, though, gay wedding was not allowed yet. So yes, there was clearly a will to recuperate this wedding in order to make the publicity of her city. It's more complicated as far as Najat Vallaud-Belkacem is concerned, because she decided not to speak, and she made it very clear that she came on a personal basis and did not want to talk to the press. She's not going to be giving interviews to any of the press today.
She was seen front and center. James Andre, thanks for that update from the French southern city of Montpellier. Marie-Laure Desbrosses, we saw that in the march that you took part in last Sunday against same-sex marriage, there was the leader of the conservative UMP party, and one of the statements that he said was the next step is for everybody to vote in the municipal elections and to vote against the socialist government. This was effectively the statement that he made. However, the person who's running for mayor of Paris, a city where there's a large homosexual population, well, she didn't come out to demonstrate. In fact, she's for the bill.
Actually, yes. But she's, well, for the moment, there is a primary, I don't know how you say that, primary vote, and we will see well, it is said we will see the result, but that many people are getting in this vote just to say that they do not want this girl to represent them. Well, we don't know what's going on, but I know that a lot of people want to get involved in politics. Maybe it will take a few time, but they They just feel that it's important if they want to a certain kind of life to get involved and not just to watch and have other people deciding
But
for them.
are you ready to lose the next elections over this issue, this single issue? Are you ready? Is the right ready to lose the next elections, the next general elections? Because if you weaken NKM, the candidate for Paris on the right, if you weaken our candidacy, what will happen to the right? I mean, you're digging your own grave, politically speaking.
Well, it was said in 2000 that Jack Lang was the only one who was capable to win Paris. So, I mean, a primary election is there is a moment where you have to say who I want to represent me. And if a lot of people don't want this girl, it will not be the case.
Over that single issue, I mean,
yes.
All
Well,
right,
I mean, it's not.
yeah.
I don't think people are crazy. They consider the whole thing, and it's one important thing for them, very important. But they obviously they will vote on all the issues.
All right, so
I think the only winner will be François Hollande at the end of the day. He will have weakened the right. The gay wedding will be in the law. We have seen the first wedding there. He is the winner of the day.
But Philippe Moreau-Chevrolet, there were a lot of people who turned out last Sunday, and a lot more people than some were predicting.
Yeah, but it's only dividing the right. I mean, it's only opposing one side of the right against the other.
Why did those people turn out? Why were there so many?
They really believe in that cause, I guess. They are really against gay marriage.
And
but
it's not true that they are only from the right. I was yesterday with
they're
a
minority, an active minority, but they are still a minority of the right. I mean,
I mean, they're not only from the right. I was yesterday at a dinner with a lot of girls from the suburb of Paris, which is a socialist city, and most of them were strongly against this law and told me, what can we do? But I tried to discuss with them and tell them it will take some time. We'll try to do something.
You mean
let's get the outside.
You mean they are Muslims, right?
Yeah, most of them, of course.
Yeah. But the
But
Muslims,
they voted
Muslims and
socialist
Catholics
too.
agree on that issue. I agree with you. But the people demonstrating on Sunday were mostly right-wing people. I mean, that's the truth. Catholic right-wing people.
Oussam Mukwaya, do you see the divide as the outsider looking in? Do you see the divide as between those who are religious and those who are not? Or is that too simplistic?
Mostly, okay, I would say, okay, there was, as you have said, there was a political issues. And then for now, I think many political leaders that want to fight sometimes for they're against normally the human rights. Normally sometimes they want to be behind the religious groups, you know, they want to be like behind the Christians, they want to be behind the Muslims. So like to push them to be in front. But normally, sometimes they don't want to spoil their name as a political parties. But normally, sometimes they are the poison. You know, they are the ringleaders of everything. So I could say it's more not Muslim, I don't know, girls or what. It was like more politically.
All right. For you, it was more, the division was more along political lines than versus religious versus people who aren't very religious.
Yeah. And then I think when we talk about the number, I have seen that the number maybe it was not all that people are there against. Normally, sometimes they are young people because they like to go, you know, when there is something going on, they want to go to make noise.
But what is certain is that it was the first time in a long, long time that there were that many people in the streets for a social issue. There have been big demonstrations over, you know, things like reform of Social Security, this kind of thing. But over a social issue, that's unusual for France.
They don't want to. That's the only thing they can demonstrate about for the time being. That's the only thing.
You think it's just that?
They are united by that cause. I don't think they could be united by any other cause for the time being. I mean, the politics that Hollande does, economically speaking, is very near what Sarkozy did. It's not far from what Sarkozy did. That's kind of the same policy.
So the divisions are along social issues.
Yes, absolutely.
In reading the law during the ceremony, the mayor of Montpellier reminded the newlyweds, and this is, you know, standard procedure, of their responsibility as parents, which are tied to the institution of marriage, adoption, high on the couple's minds before the ceremony.
It's a love marriage and a marriage that will allow us to consider adoption because we want to found a family. This is probably an extraordinary moment for each of us.
Marie-Laure Desbrosses, what's wrong with that?
Well,
Two loving parents?
Oh, well, two loving person is not. But the question is, you can't stop someone to. Well, you can't stop a woman who wants to have a baby and can have a baby to have one, even though it in some conditions it might be not that's right for the baby, for several reasons. Now, on some conditions, the law has to interfere. If somebody wants to adopt, you look closely if the parents are supposed to be the best parents for this child who is abandoned. So it might be unfair that people say you are good parents and you're not, and you can have children and you cannot. Well, my strong belief is that it's better for a child to get a mother and a father, if it's possible. I mean, now if you compare same quality adults, because you say it's better to have good homosexual parents rather than poor or no parents at all, or poor heterosexual parents. But the question is, there are very few children to adopt. A lot of couples who have the certificate to adopt children, and well, when it comes to who should we give the children to, I think it's better if it's a mother and a father together.
Oussam Mukwege, do you agree?
I don't agree with Marie.
Yes.
Yeah, because you have before. I think when when you talk about the issue of adoption, you have to think first why these children or why this kid must be adopted. There is a reason why. And then when you think, okay, you have to follow who is going to be given a child. So the person, so it's like if you need to check who is he, and then you say it's a man and a woman. I don't think, because normally you have to see what is for example, why do you need to give this kid to someone? It means she needs love, or he needs love, he needs care, and other things. So if like this couple, they are able to do this, they have got all the qualities, why do you still insist to the woman and a man?
Because I
and
think
they might be not even have qualities to adopt the kid.
Well, social services are there to check that people have the qualities to adopt the children, hopefully. And now, if we have the choice, I think it's preferable that you have a father and a mother.
All right. When we come back, we're gonna look at the discussion and how it's playing out, not just in France, but elsewhere in Europe and around the world. Stay with us. You're watching the France 24.